Imagine if a bench were no longer just a bench, but that we could transform that bench so that it had puzzles that helped develop STEM skills of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
Brookings launched an initiative between the Center for Universal Education and the Bass Center for Transformative Placemaking in order to address the question and the challenging issue of building better cities that support learning for children and families.
Playful Learning Landscapes is an exciting, evidence-based solution to how we can transform our cities, to offer a place where community members can get together, can express their ideas, can celebrate their culture.
Playful Learning Landscapes can produce multiple benefits. Not only can they create new learning opportunities for children, but they can also reinvigorate public spaces and create new gathering spaces that can nurture social interaction.
Urban Thinkscape was a redesign of a bus stop. We asked the question, could we just put puzzles around the benches so that when families are waiting, they're practicing spatial learning that we know is really important for later mathematical outcomes. Parkopolis was a wonderful human-sized board game designed to help children learn more about science and math. As they go around the board, new dice were configured. No longer the 1 to 6 and 1 to 6, but 1 to 6 and fractions.
The Bass Center for Transformative Placemaking and the Center for Universal Education at Brookings are bringing together our respective expertise and knowledge to scale playful learning landscapes across U.S. cities and eventually across the globe.
The mission of Playful Learning Landscapes at Brookings is to build a global network of stakeholders to advance the theory and practice of building better cities to support learning for families and children. To Brookings. I'm Helen Hadani, and I'm a fellow with the Center for Universal Education and the Bass Center for Transformative Placemaking. I would first like to thank the Bernard Van Leer Foundation and Bob and Ann Bass for their support of the Playful Learning Landscapes initiative here at Brookings. The Bernard Van Leer Foundation support of the Playful Learning Landscapes initiative through the Center for Universal Education, and the support of Bob Bass, a trustee of Brookings, and launching the Bass Center for Transformative Placemaking makes the work we do here possible. I would also like to reiterate Brookings' commitment to independence and underscore that the views expressed today are solely those of the speakers. And lastly, I would like to thank my many colleagues who helped support this event this morning. This is an event about playful learning. So we're going to start with a very quick activity. On your seats, you should have found a small box of crayons and 2 index cards. One of the index cards, the small white one, I'd like you to save for later in the event. The big blue index card you're going to use right now. What I want you to do is think back to your childhood and think about what and how you loved to play. But don't think too much, because I'm only going to give you about 60 seconds to do this activity. Okay, but first, I'm going to show you my drawing. Okay, so as you can see, my childhood was filled with Hello Kitty. Hello Kitty everything. Okay, so now now is your turn. Okay, you'll have about 60 seconds to do your drawing. Ready? Go. You have about 30 seconds left. Okay, hopefully you're pretty much done with your drawing. You can continue later, and also there are baskets at the back. If you would like to leave us your drawing, we would love to have it, okay? We all played as children and hopefully have some very fond memories of playing a favorite board game or card game with our siblings and friends, or maybe an endless game of hide and seek at our grandmother's house. But play is more than fun. It is how we form relationships, how we build core cognitive and social skills, and how we reduce stress. I had countless tea parties with my Hello Kitty dolls and many stuffed animals that I often subjected my 2 older brothers into partaking in, and I still hear about that to this day. But I also learned some important skills through that play. I learned some important language and social skills and how to divide a pretty pink cake into 6 equal pieces. I'd like you to now take just a moment, look down at your drawing and think about, what did you learn from how you played as a child? Maybe it was learning something about spatial reasoning by building with Lego bricks or doing puzzles. Or maybe you learned something about friction and velocity by building ramps for your Matchbox cars. This is the connection between play and learning. Today, I'm here to share a big idea around playful learning. Here at Brookings, we are about capturing, designing, and communicating big ideas to solve complex problems. The Playful Learning Landscapes initiative at Brookings is a joint venture between the Bass Center for Transformative Placemaking and the Center for Universal Education. Working at the intersection of both of these centers, I am leading this initiative and bringing together an interdisciplinary group of scholars and practitioners to transform everyday spaces into powerful and fun learning environments for children and families. But what is the challenge that we are addressing? We have a global learning crisis. Experts predict that by the year 2030, over half of the world's youth, that's over 800 million young people, will not have the skills that they need to succeed in work and their future careers. In high-income countries like the United States, we are failing a third of our children. In the United States, economic disparities among families lead to large gaps in educational outcomes, and achievement gaps between cognitive and social skills of children living in middle-income communities and peers from under-resourced areas emerge as early as age 3. That sets the trajectory for children from under-resourced communities to poor academic outcomes. We know from research that early childhood education is one of the most powerful mechanisms for increasing social mobility and economic opportunity. And policymakers have focused largely on top-down reforms to improve formal education environments, including preschool. But this strategy ignores the 80% of waking time that children spend outside of school with their families. We also know from research that quality child-caregiver interactions and communication are a key ingredient and critical to healthy early development. Yet families experiencing poverty have fewer opportunities to engage in these healthy communicative interactions. Low-resourced environments often have low-quality public spaces and public infrastructure, and fewer opportunities for children and families to engage in nurturing learning environments, both formal and informal, including museums and libraries. By addressing educational inequity through a holistic, community-based model, Playful Learning Landscapes sets in motion transformative and structural change at the individual, family, and community levels, and broadens economic opportunity and encourages social mobility. Through fun, interactive installations co-located in spaces that families frequent, including bus stops and supermarkets and libraries, Playful Learning Landscapes encourages the development of critical connections and skills, allowing children from under-resourced communities to enter formal school on a more level playing field and to continue to thrive in school and beyond. And while there is no silver bullet for educational inequity, Playful Learning Landscapes offers a unique and powerful solution with a wide range of outcomes. From a child development perspective, Playful Learning Landscapes enables a mindset shift among caregivers and communities around the role of child-caregiver interactions and play in foundational learning. At the same time, Playful Learning Landscapes, from a placemaking perspective, makes cities more beautiful and livable for their residents, and engages communities in revitalization of the public realm, transforming vacant lots and bus stops, and providing opportunities for critical social interaction among children and adults alike. So we find ourselves today at a very exciting moment, as there is a growing evidence base and local experiences contributing to the playful learning movement. One recent contribution is a report produced by the Center for Universal Education with support from the William Penn Foundation through Temple University, entitled Philadelphia Playful Learning Landscapes, Scaling Strategies for a Playful Learning Movement. For those interested, there are copies at the back for you to take. This report explores Philadelphia's efforts to apply the latest in learning sciences to urban planning and design to improve early outcomes, early developmental and learning outcomes for children and families, especially those living in under-resourced and marginalized communities. With Philadelphia serving as a demonstration site, the report documents efforts to scale Playful Learning Landscapes, installations, and activities, and offers lessons learned to inform further expansion in Philadelphia and other cities and across the world. Some examples of Playful Learning Landscapes installations, a few of these highlighted in the video that you just saw, are Supermarket Speak, which transformed a daily trip to the supermarket into a learning opportunity through simple signage, such as, "Where does milk come from?" in the dairy section. This promoted caregiver-child interaction and communication, and results found a huge increase in the number of caregiver-child interactions and communication, a 33% jump when the signs were up versus when the signs were down in low-income neighborhoods. And it's important to note that this work has now been replicated in other cities, in laundromats and food pantries. We also have Parkopolis, which enriched a public space, a children's museum, with math and science learning by engaging children and their caregivers in a life-size board game where children roll fraction dice and move 1.5 or 2 3/4 spaces. Results found that 39% more children used whole number language and 12% more children used fraction number language when engaging in Parkopolis compared to another STEM exhibit. And then we have Urban Thinkscape, which transformed a vacant lot next to a bus stop into a play space infused with learning science by adding puzzles to the back of a bench and transforming the childhood hopscotch game into an executive function activity. Urban Thinkscape has shown significant increases in quality child-caregiver interactions, also an increase in the number of caregivers using language around letters and numbers and colors, from just over 2% at pre-test to 36% at post-test, as well as heightened community pride and civic engagement. At its core, Playful Learning Landscapes involves co-creation with the community. Community leaders and neighborhood businesses co-design, develop, and maintain Playful Learning Landscapes installations. Playful Learning Landscapes installations, including Urban Thinkscape, saw researchers work with community members to design evaluations of the projects that met the community's needs and goals. The Philadelphia report concludes with a call to action on how to move beyond supporting the replication of a single installation to shaping mainstream practices of government, businesses, and other organizations to incorporate playful learning principles into their own work. The call to action centers around 3 general areas. The first is generating evidence about playful learning to continue to build the evidence base, including developing shared metrics across Playful Learning Landscapes initiatives. Secondly, to capture and codify key elements and approaches to implementing playful learning initiatives. Evidence about what is working and how it is working is critical for transforming cities into vibrant learning communities. And thirdly, to build a coordinated global movement around playful learning with a central hub to coordinate efforts, connect partners, and share the learning across various sites. Cities across the world can collectively pool their resources, their skills, and their expertise to develop family-friendly cities. The report was informed by many of you here today, including data from pilot installations from Philadelphia and a number of other cities, as well as additional background research about relevant efforts to scale playful initiatives that have led to widespread changes in learning outcomes for children and families. Our intention is that the findings and the lessons learned from the report will feed into many of the discussions today. And I just want to, before I close, highlight one of my favorite quotes about building family-friendly cities. Children are a kind of indicator species. If we can build a successful city for children, we will have a successful city for all people. So I'd next like to give you a quick preview of the rest of the morning's events so you know what's up and coming. We're excited to have 2 panel sessions led by my colleagues Jennifer Vey and Rebecca Winthrop. Rebecca's panel will take a deep dive into the connection between play and learning, and how early learning can be fostered through play and child-caregiver interactions. That will be followed by Jennifer's panel, which will explore the promise of public spaces for promoting learning through play, and ways of measuring the impact at multiple levels. After the 2 panels, we are very honored to have Frances Bronnett, the president of the Pratt Institute, give our keynote address. And then we will have Ralph Smith from the Campaign for Grade Level Reading wrap up with some closing comments. Thank you very much and enjoy the morning.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe for more videos from Brookings.